Welcome, everyone, to the C-Suite Sales and Marketing Perspectives podcast. I'm Steve McDonald, your host. Today, we've got a really interesting conversation. It's a global conversation. It's a conversation that is at the core of what we do as B2B companies, building trust with our ICP, right? Building trust with not only our customers, but with our prospects. And what's interesting about our guest here, our special guest today, Jaume Ayerbe, is you've serviced customers in 5 different countries. And I'm going to let you tell the story about how trust is very different in different cultures, right? But a level of trust is one of the things that we absolutely have. In fact, we've called brands trust marks, right? And we are on a severe decline in trust. There was a study that came out, I think, a year ago that said if 74% of B2B buyers actually don't trust the customer evidence we present to them. We spend a lot of time trying to get those precious case studies, right? And at the same time, you look at the Edelman Trust Index, right? You look at all these things and it's on a free fall. So if we don't have trust, what do we have as sellers, as organizations? We sell our services, our products and services. So the idea is, how do we break this kind of uphill battle that we have in today's go-to-market strategy with this lack of trust? But before we do that, Jaume, I'd just love to have you maybe explain a little bit more about your background before we get started.
Hey, thank you for having me today, Steve. It's a pleasure to join you and go through this topic. Definitely, trust is a big topic nowadays. As you rightly mentioned, I've been lucky enough to be closing business in the 5 different continents. And I can tell you, business culture, to no one surprise, is very different from North America to South America, to Asia, to the Middle East, to Africa, and of course, Europe. And none is better than other. But sometimes you need to be ready to understand what you are really listening. So sometimes you might be asking the right questions. You might be even asking, do we have a deal? And you can hear saying aloud, yes, we're having a deal, which only means, yes, tell me more.
My teenagers would take kindly to that. But want the keys to the car? Yes. I just mean I want to talk more about this. One thing that I didn't mention was that you are the CRO, right? And you've got a technical background. You've been the CEO before. So you bring a lot of, C-suite leadership experience to this conversation today.
Yes.
So I just want to ask you, just to start out with, the importance in your mind of trust in B2B sales. How important is that?
I think it's paramount. At the end of the day, what customers are buying is not your product, not your solution, not your services, but what they are buying is peace of mind that you're going to be helping fix or enhance the business problem that they are dealing with. So without a question, you are representing good service, a good solution, a good product, no question on that. But so is doing your closest competitor. And this head-to-head race, it's won by whoever is able to build a superior level of trust with that buyer. Because at the end of the day, there is no question on what his need is, and he wants to make no fool of himself, hiring, contracting, sourcing from a vendor that they don't feel comfortable they are going to be delivering, right? So throughout this sales process, you're going to be having a lot of opportunities to showcase your professionalism, that you are there to back up them, your expertise, to support in situations that might come. There is no question, throughout the delivery, throughout the project, things are going to be happening that they were not originally planned. You will need to shift ways. You will need to redress the situation. And it's all about your ability to redress that situation, what they are really buying into.
What's interesting is like a Gartner and a lot of, the largest consultancies in the
Hmm.
world don't talk about us as salespeople, but
Uh-huh.
trusted advisors.
Correct.
So what's interesting about that is the trust, right? The core element of what
Hmm.
we're talking about here, but then advisors,
Hmm.
right? I just want to ask your opinion on building that trust
Hmm.
isn't in my mind about talking about us. It's not about talking about our products and our
Hmm.
services and how great we are.
Hmm.
It's about understanding their challenges,
Yes.
right? That may be even broader. More times than not, we help them this much, their challenges are this great. But if we can be a trusted advisor and
Uh-huh.
understand and help them and add value at this level, that helps build a tremendous amount of trust versus a seller, a vendor of a particular product or technology.
Uh-huh.
So if you agree with that, like, how do you do that? Right? How do you achieve that trusted advisor status?
Yeah. Irrespective of whether you are sitting with that prospect to discuss the situation because it was an inbound opportunity or whether it was an outbound opportunity that you were reaching out, then the one thing that goes for sure is that you need to show, you have the opportunity to share with that prospect buyer that you have expertise in the domain where you are providing your solution.
Mhm.
Because it's clear they have a situation that they need to fix, or they have a situation that they want to enhance. And there are many ways of doing that. How do I fix this problem? You can do this, you can do that, you can do something else. You can throw people, you can throw technology products, you can throw many um, possible solutions to that, right? But it's your expertise as a trusted advisor, the one that is bringing insights into the conversation, right? So
Mhm.
when you are making your point, um, particularly if it's an outbound call or if it's an inbound that hasn't been fully qualified, what you want to showcase to them is, you know what? I've been working with customers in this industry, as you are, that they have experienced these problems. However, they have been able to make this progress. They have been able to make this progress. And here, what you're throwing at the customer is not what your solution is doing, what you're able to do. It's not about providing any evidence that you have a good solution, but it's an evidence that you are understanding what the problem is, what the situations are, and how you can work with them to make progress. Eventually, the thing that you want to hear is, okay, tell me more about that, right? I want to learn more about that insight, that piece of knowledge that apparently you are having because of the experience of other companies or the individuals that they were having situations like this one. And the more you share with them, the more understanding of what are the problems, the different implications, the different levers that you can pull to make progress on that situation. Eventually, what you really want is to hear the question, okay, and how I can do that? How can I achieve that? Because that's the golden moment where you want to say, oh, you know what? Coincidentally, we have a solution for that. We have this fantastic service. We have this fantastic um, solution, this piece of software that is going to be help you with this dream. But you don't want to push uh, the horses ahead of the excuse me. You don't want to push the carriage ahead of the horses,
Yes.
right? you
Right.
need you need the customer to be in agreement, to be in alignment that you are understanding the problem that they are having. And this is where you are building that role of trusted advisor. Because basically what you're saying is, I understand the situation that you are having. I've been helping some other individuals, organizations with that problem, and we have worked through that. Oh, by the way, there is this angle that you were not considering that might be more beneficial. And this is where you might be pivoting uh, the solution, right? Uh, because originally, if I need to work on a given solution, as Henry Ford would say, if I ask my customers what they want, they will say faster horses.
Yes.
They say nothing about I want um, a car, but I have a car. So I need to be careful of what message I'm giving, right? But again, to your point on that study by Garner, you are absolutely right. It's very difficult to build that credibility because there is so many bias on those case studies, right?
Yeah.
How many times have you read about um, this much improvement, anonymous customer in the aviation industry? Is that for real? Is that something that was made up by marketing?
It's interesting because, on average, we have around 25 to 30 competitors, most
Yes.
B2B companies.
Hmm.
And from a sales and marketing perspective, none of us are saying, the 10 things you really need in our platform, we only do 8 really well. Or we're working on another 4, right? It's like, yeah, we got that box checked. We got that box checked, right? And
Yes.
so from the buyer's perspective, everybody's saying they can do it all.
Uh,
Nobody's saying we got big deficiencies. Nobody's saying they're ahead of us. We're behind the curveball, right?
uh,
So what they're left with is a sea of sameness, right? And in that world, I think what you're talking about here is of the utmost importance because if you're talking beyond the product, you're talking about their greater challenges and you're adding insights and you're truly educating them,
mhm.
then you have just created a competitive differentiation,
Sure.
right? And so I want to get into this. We talked in our previous call about emotional selling
Yes.
and versus like the numerical case studies, which we've now talked
Mhm.
about how they don't have a lot of credibility. So, you know, what's your point on emotional selling and what should we know about that?
Uh, at the end of the day, as we were saying, they're going to be sourcing from whomever, whatever organization. Well, both the sales rep and the organization have built the trust um, to solve the situation that the buyer is having. And what is trust? Is an emotion. You really need to feel aligned with that seller, right? Um, you need to feel that you are being heard, that you are taking that decision freely on your own, that you are not being patronized. Um, let's say for a minute that I'm in the business of bottled water. Um, so I might be patronizing you by making a question like, "Do you like to drink water, Steve?" Your answer will most likely be yes. Are you thirsty most of the days? "Mm, yes." Uh, but you're being like pushed into saying that yes. Obviously, you're not going to be answering no. And how are you feeling when I'm making that kind of questions? You're feeling like you're being patronized, you're being directed. I'm being nailed to the corner, and I want to escape. So probably at some point, if I follow that route, you'll say, "Yeah, you know what, Jaume? I need to take this call, or I really have this meeting. We'll talk to you later on," and you will escape from that conversation. Of course, I'm making it very extreme, right?
Right.
But uh, but those things are there, right? And now don't think about me selling bottled water, but selling insurances. Every company needs to have an insurance. So if I'm leading with my insurance is doing this and that, or this better or the other better, uh, the question that is on top of mind of the buyer is, what are you not doing well? As you were mentioning, uh, we never said we have these 8 features, but we are failing on those 2 that we feel are important, or we are doing just average, not necessarily failing, right?
Right.
So you need to turn around this situation. You need to let the other party feel in them directing and owning the conversation. Of course, trust is an emotion, but the sense that I'm having my free will respected, that I'm taking this decision in a free manner, it's what is commanding. And you know what is interesting that you were mentioning Garner Group, because Garner Group, they are the owners, they acquiring one of my favorite sales methodologies or sales frameworks that goes by the name of Challenger Sale. And
Right.
you did also mention challenge, right? Uh, when I say you need to build a trust, you don't need to be patronizing. Doesn't mean that you need to be conceding on every point. It's perfectly fine. In fact, what you want to do is you want to challenge the other party in, is that the best way of solving the problem? And let's think about that together as a team so we can find a better way, right? And this is exactly what is being proposed by this division of Garner, right?
Right. You know, this idea, I want to go back to the emotional connection. You
Hmm.
said something in our previous conversation that emotional connection surpasses product specifications.
Hmm.
In other words, in the sea of sameness of
Hmm.
product,
Hmm.
especially like in the SaaS world, the tech world, right? With ChatGPT
Uh-huh.
now writing code, and I mean, it's hard to create long term sustainable competitive
Hmm.
advantage on product. It's just not going to
Hmm.
happen, right? And no matter what, the competition is going to be saying we're equal or better anyways. So if we think about that from a CRO's perspective, how much time should we be dedicating to building the right product? And how much time should we be dedicating to building trust in our organization?
Hmm.
We all have a
It,
limited amount of time, right? We don't have
it,
wait. None of us are going to say, I got so much time in my day, I could take on more. You know,
it goes without saying that your product need to have minimum quality, or I should say it should be above the minimum requirements uh, to for customers to express preference.
right.
But let me give you an example in the automotive industry, right? Um, let's say that you want to invest on a car, and among the options that you're having, you have a BMW Series 3 and you have a Mercedes C-Class. They are about the same price, they are about the same size, they have about the same features. Both are German engineered products, good performance. Um, Everything is in, well, I would say great performance, great products, German quality products.
Well,
uh, so, which one is best? I don't care. Is not going to be uh, the car with the best specs, the one that is going to be more sold out. It's going to be a number of factors that are going to be driving the decision of the buyers. It's the emotions, right? Uh, of course, if one of the brands is offering me a workshop, which is, um, I don't know, let's say within 15 minutes from my home, and the other one, it's an hour and a half, there is no chance. or there is little chance that I express preference. If anytime I need to service my car, I need to drive an hour and a half back and another hour and a half forth, right? But all things being equal, it's down to emotions, right? And I'm sure you will be entering the sales floor, and you will be hearing from the sales rep of whatever of the brands or any other brand. You cannot compare with the other one. This one is very unique. This one is very different. This is what is not expecting the buyer to hear. We already know that they are different, but in fact they are not.
Well, it's interesting because trust is one of those things that reduces risk. And in B2B, usually making the decision to buy like our technology, our platform, comes at a very big risk for the buyer. Right? This
Uh-huh.
is a big decision. This is a big
Mhm.
impact on their business. Right? That idea or that old saying, nobody ever got fired for hiring IBM. Right?
Yes,
Because, you know, it's still like, well, I went with the best, right? I went, like, don't fault me. What that's saying is I don't want to take the responsibility. Right. But these buyers have a responsibility in making
Mhm.
the right decision.
Of course.
So trust helps them reduce risk.
Mhm.
Right. And so I'm going to ask you the question once again, because you didn't really answer it the first time. If, from your perspective, we spend a lot of time building product,
Yes.
how much time, what's the balance of building the product and building trust?
Yeah, apologies for not taking that one directly.
No problem.
Trust is something that needs to be led from the senior management down to the organization. Uh, Trust is with customers, but trust is within the company as well. I cannot be building credibility, building trust with my prospect customers if I'm not having trust back at home, back at the office,
Yeah.
back at the workshop. I need
Yeah.
to build that trust. And this needs to be part of the company culture. And this is a never ending game. You need to be reinforcing in every opportunity, every time that there is a quarterly business review, every time that there is an operating business review, anytime that there is whether customer facing event or internal only event, you need to be reinforcing this trust. You need to be held accountable for the promises that you make. It's not okay. It's not okay to fail on promises that you have made to your own team, uh, because then they are not going to be trusting you. If they are not trusting you, how they can build that trust with the end customer? If I'm not trusting my organization, uh, how can I be making you a promise? No worries, Steve. I will take care of that,
Oh,
knowing
yeah.
that I cannot take care of that because I cannot rely on my team. So that is something that needs to be built upside down, south, north, east, west.
That's true. You know what? I've never thought about it that way. That the external trust that we project
Hmm.
is a direct correlation to our own ability to trust us to deliver
Mm.
our promises, right? You know, I've got a I've got a teenager that I would never make a promise to, you know, yeah, he'll be over there to help out with that, that project, like I wouldn't do it because I don't have the internal
Mm.
trust, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully when he gets older, I do. But
as
it's a good point. It's a really good point.
as I said, trust is all about being accountable on the promises that you made and delivering on those promises.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's so you need that credibility towards the outside and towards the inside in both directions. And otherwise, Steve, how do you uh, ask to your team, guys? You need to be trustable by your customers. To your customers, customers need to trust you. What does it mean?
Yeah.
How do I make myself trustable? Because trust is something that you cannot buy.
No. No. You have to
You
earn
can,
trust. Yeah.
yeah, you need to earn it, and it takes time to earn trust, and it takes like that to lose that trust. You know what is that promise I made you? I'm not gonna be holding it. That thing that I said with you, it was a little bit makeup. Trust is gone like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not gonna be saying exactly like that, but you're gonna be
Right.
saying that in one way or another. Oh, that was a little bit of misunderstanding. I felt like it was something else, and trust is gone. And then you cannot get back the next day and say, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, yesterday was a little bit of a bummer, but what if we do this, we do that? I'm sorry. Yesterday we broke the bridges. Uh, we are not long enough on the same page. So it's an everyday job, and it's an everyday investment by the whole organization."
So we love that perspective of it's an ongoing job. We never
Hmm.
stop building our
Hmm.
trust. In your mind, how correlated is our ability to build trust and our deep knowledge of our ICP, our ideal
Hmm.
customer profile?
Hmm.
Are those two things, directly correlated, directly aligned?
You cannot be successful in the long term if those elements are not aligned. Definitely, they need to be aligned.
So part of that ongoing building of trust is an ongoing and never ending pursuit of understanding of our customers,
Hmm.
right?
Yes,
And I
exactly.
think that's where a lot of companies, quite frankly, fail because, we have sales conversations all the time. We have customer
Hmm.
success conversations all the time.
Hmm.
But, and I know I'm talking to, somebody in charge of the sales organization here, but if you were to design a customer learning program
Hmm.
that was designed to uncover the insights and the elements that would help you build trust on a regular basis. Would
Hmm.
you run that learning program through a sales organization?
It's
There's two
it.
things that happen, right? One,
Mhm.
there is a shield that is up in a sales conversation, right? Open conversation is difficult to attain. I think
Mhm.
Gong came out a couple of years ago with a stat that said across thousands of recorded sales conversations, the sales rep talked 2/3 to 3/4 of the time.
Yes.
Yeah. So right, it's like the question is, okay, if that deep knowledge and understanding is a really important part of building trust, and trust is paramount, equal to, like, product in terms of developing a relationship that will travel to a closed deal,
Yep.
then how do we build, or how do we gain that knowledge, right? Because it takes work.
Absolutely, absolutely true. I'm guilty. I speak too much. I'm I'm a sales manager. I'm previously I was a sales rep. So the point is that we really need to listen to understand.
Yeah.
Um, we need to uh, listen more, talk less, to understand what is the real pain, what is the ultimate problem, the ultimate situation. Um, what are the uh, untold necessities that the customer is having? What are the untold situations that the customer is not sharing with you immediately,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And this needs to be 360 through the customer life cycle. I mean, as a CRO, I start touching points with prospect customers, not yet customers, when I'm putting outbound marketing messages. I'm continue to have conversations when they are reaching out, or we are talking with them. Still as a prospect, we are building that relationship. Eventually, sales rep will kick in, a service delivery manager, and onboarding in individual, the customer success team, uh, maybe support in different organizations we have different individuals, but throughout this life cycle, we need to build and reinforce on a continuous way that trust. and be listening to the customer and feeding internally. Hey, I have heard this with this customer conversation. I'm unsure if this is aligned with the expectations that we created, or if we need to fix anything, or if we need to take any steps, right? The whole organization um, needs to be there. Because in the subscription world that we are living, uh, what we want is customers for life. It's not back in the old days when I was selling a license, a big deal, 100K deal, and 1 million deal, 10 million deals, set and forget. And then there were the renewals kicking in every year. But what was the renewals? 20%? Yeah, but it's not my job anymore. It's part of the renewal team. In a subscription industry, as we are today, we subscribe to everything from cars to houses to all kinds of pieces of software. The moment I sing the deal, it means very little of the total life cycle value of the customer. I want to keep that customer with us for years to come. I want to say this has been a customer of mine for the last 14 years. That's what I want him to be. I don't want to say, oh, yes, I signed up 300 customers this month. Okay, how many of them are still with you 3 months down the road? Well, they're gone. But I will get 300 more. That's acquisition is too expensive. And word of mouth is running miles ahead of you. So sooner rather than later, it will be impossible for you to win any new customer. So you need to have this mentality of customers for life.
I got one more question.
Sure.
And it's a big question with a bite-sized small answer in terms of like the 30-second answer. We can't retain more than about 3 things at the same time. That's just our human brain. So if there was one thing that you wanted people to take away from this conversation and remember, what would that be?
Be genuine and be accountable.
Mm.
Those are the 2 values that I want my teams to act on.
Yeah. I love it. That was the shortest but best answer I've had for that question. Usually people will go on about 3 or 4 minutes and give me about 8 things. But I love that. If you stay true to how am I genuinely supporting and helping my prospects, right? That's, I don't think you could beat that. That's kind of a North Star. I think there's going to be people that have questions. And if they do, is it okay if we give out a link to your LinkedIn profile so people can reach out to you?
More than welcome. Happy to take those questions over LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Well, Jaume, thank you so much for just opening up and sharing and being so genuine with us, right? And what it takes to succeed. I just appreciate all of the wisdom, and especially somebody who's worked for so many years across so many continents, so many different kinds of customers. It means quite a bit. Thank you.
Quite the contrary. I'm very humbled to be invited to this call and have this conversation. Definitely, the topic deserves this, and I hope I kept myself genuine and accountable.
Fantastic.